Hello!
Hello!
Episode 4 of Season 2 of the Off-Air Voiceover podcast.
Episode 4 already. That's
gone
crazy.
quick.
Oh, it has gone quick. And I'm Jen Lawton-Hunt.
How you doing, Jen?
Back again. I'm okay.
Back once again.
Back again. I am holding on. But I'm excited for this episode. How are you doing?
You're holding on. I'm all right. So
Let's brush over that.
I'm making a conscious decision, actually. So I came out of the booth for last week's because I kind of had to. But actually, I've decided to stay out of the booth because it's nice just to come out of that environment and just sit and talk. As long as Riverside holds up, we'll be okay. My audio should be fine. It's when it went to Zoom, it went a bit pear-shaped. Well, actually, what happened was, through Riverside, I'm talking through my Mac. I'm just listening through my AirPods. But when we moved over to Zoom, it all went through my AirPods. And mine, even though they're the Pro ones, I seem to have got a bit of a defunct pair, and they don't sound very clear. So apologies for that for last episode. But I've decided to stay out of the booth because it just feels way more relaxed, way more chilled. And it is more convenient based on where I'm currently set up until I get back to France. So here we go. We're going for it again. So, yeah, how's your week been otherwise? Okay? You want to brush over it?
Yeah. Brush over it, yeah.
Brush over it, okay.
We're here. It's Friday. It's fine.
Yeah, as this week's gone quick. And we've got the Voiceover Social tomorrow, which I'm incredibly excited about. So,
the Manchester one. Yeah,
Manchester
I can't
one,
go,
yeah.
but it looks good. If anyone else is going, let us know.
Yeah, there's a good turnout. There's quite a few people going, so looking forward to that. Right, so let's get into it. So this week's episode, I am very excited about this. This week, we are looking at voiceover scams.
Boo.
And the reason why this came about was simply because about 3 weeks ago, when I was with Steph, on a Sunday, she got a WhatsApp message off this fella claiming to be this guy from a big company called TransPerfect. And, you know, it came out of the blue. The guy had his name and position at the company there. And for all intents and purposes, it seemed, you know, like it raises eyebrows, but there was no immediate reason to be suspicious. It's something you deep dive. Yeah. So this episode is centered around that journey. And then I myself, through knowing that this episode was going to be about, did a bit more research into the other scams that are out there. And then some things that may not necessarily be a scam, but are definite red flags to look out for.
Red flags. And you know what? There seems to be a lot at the moment. The last few months, it seems to have gone through the roof in terms of scams.
Yeah. Well,
and dodgy dealings. It's just, seems to be getting worse.
Well, what happened was, after that happened with Steph, then we had one of our clips go out on TikTok, and one of my mates, Mandy, she messaged me, said, one of the people that have replied in your video is one of these scammers. Can I copy it, screenshot it?
Really?
Yeah, so she did. So Mandy's, she goes by A Story Redhead on TikTok. She's done a video on this from someone who commented in one of our posts. So she does a bit of a deep dive into the same sort of thing. So worth checking out. She's got some good content. But so
she's great.
And then on top of that, then Gravy sent out a newsletter saying that they're doing a webinar. So I was like, it just seems to be all the thing at the moment. But obviously, because I was there firsthand with Steph when it happened, I thought, it seems to be something that's been talked about. There's definitely a scam going around at the moment regarding this TransPerfect thing. So for those that may not have come across it, we'll talk about that, what it looks like, how it's dressed up. We've also had a couple of DMs off some people, which we're really grateful for, who've had contact as well. So we'll just read out what they've received, just so you can, sort of mentally be on the lookout for it, as well as some
protect each other.
So here we go. So what happened was, like I said, about 3 Sundays ago, Steph got a WhatsApp message off this fella. And he was basically saying, I'm from TransPerfect. This is my name. I'm the CEO of operations, or something to that effect. And he said he had an audiobook project. He had a 100,000 word project, or thereabouts. Needed turning around in 4 days, and there was $10,000 on the table for it.
Okay.
So immediately, as a voiceover, it's you're going to think, okay, well, obviously, tell me more. What do I need to know? Let me just.
My first thought would be, it's Sunday. This is unusual.
Yeah, well, exactly right. So he says here, where's it gone? So he says, I'm UK Information Officer at TransPerfect UK, and he puts a link and all this sort of stuff. So Steph then says, right, well, before we move anywhere forward, I need you to send me an agreement. So he does so. He says, right, no problem, stand by. I'll send you this agreement through. And about 20 minutes later, she gets this email from a Gmail account. Red flag immediately. I mean, I said to straight away, Steph, this is dodge as it comes.
Yeah,
He
dodgy.
contacts you on a Sunday from a massive company via WhatsApp. I went,
Yeah.
it's red flag written all over it. But she, she
The
entertained
thing
it.
is, though, you do, and you do entertain it, and I think that's something that's going to come up a lot in this episode. And
Yeah.
I am really with Steph. I'm like, I'm always just going to see. I'm always
Yeah.
just going to go that one step.
There's that little thing in the back of your mind. Your gut goes,
You're like,
I
but
know
what
it's a red.
if? Yeah, carry on anyway.
It's like when you come out of a relationship that was really toxic, and then they go, "No, but I've changed." There's that little voice that goes, have they? Should I try? No, definitely not.
Is it worth it?
Is it?
No, it's not. No.
Your gut goes.
Go with your gut. I know, but you're always like, yeah, and that's what they go for, isn't it? That's why they do it.
And obviously,
Carry on, then.
if you knew as well, I mean, obviously, experienced people may know the things to look out for based on the language. Some of the way they write these things, it's like ChatGPT on crack. I mean, it's like the most unnatural, robotic garbage.
Yeah.
But if you're new to it, you may fall for the lull of like a big prize money and a big job.
Of course you do. And like I've been around the block, but I still am pretty naive. I mean, I hope no scammers are listening to this, but I am like an absolute target. Because I'm like, I want to believe the best in people, and because you have the hope, don't you, that it's genuine. You're like, oh, maybe it's just, I don't know. But obviously, go with your gut.
Yeah.
So she's got the contract through.
She got this contract. Oh no, so I'm just looking at the pictures now because she screenshot it. So the very first thing that she got was, "Hello, how are you? I saw your great voice actor profile and was wondering if you'd be interested in some freelance voiceover projects. If so, I'd love to chat more with you. I'd love to hear your thoughts." Here's the other thing. His opening message is in quotation marks. And then he put 2 question marks 3 hours later when she ignored it. So thanks for reaching out. She knew it was a bit dodged, and obviously she just sort of... Anyway, so this agreement comes through, right, from this Gmail account. And all it's got on it, at the bottom where it says, like, a signature, it's just got this stamp that says TransPerfect on it. It's like the most... Well, I think there may be a way for you to pull off a legitimate TransPerfect agreement online, and then they've just put some naff stamp on it to make it look legit. It was totally, like, ridiculous.
Oh, God.
So anyway, so he goes, "Oh, have you received it?" I find this makes me laugh. He said, "What's your payment protocol?" He says, "Our project involves a 100-page document with compensation set at $100 per page. We need a 4-day turnaround. What's your payment protocol?" Bang, straight in payment. How do you want it doing? We need to know what we're working with. Now that isn't necessarily a tremendous red flag, but if you've been working in this area for a while, you'll know that people tend to not ask you how do you want to be paid. It's via a bank account. If it's abroad, all right, that conversation may come up.
Yeah, and I think sometimes so you're always like, oh, maybe there's a, because if it is abroad, then it is more complicated, and they do want to know, don't they?
So he's attached this sample of what the text is that she needs to read as an audition, which, bearing in mind, is like a whole 1 page of a book. That's a straight absolutely no. And then he said he asked her a couple of questions like, "What's your working method?" How just he's just trying to butter her up, basically. That's all he's doing.
Yeah.
So obviously we do a bit of a look, and we go on the TransPerfect website, and this person has that name in that position. Yeah. Steph says, "I've got the agreement." He says, "Oh, how do you feel about proceeding?" She says, "No." She says, "Why have I received an email from a Gmail account if you're from TransPerfect?" He says, "I'm having a few issues with my personal company email. That's why I asked the agent to help send to you. Please don't feel skeptical, okay?" So she goes, "Listen, not buying it." And then she went, "I think it's a scam, so please delete my information." And this fucker's got the audacity to go, "If you think all is scam, then you will have to pass on this one. I don't usually work with those that feels skeptical. Thank you for your time." Like, piss off. So anyway, so that was that. And then...
I love the fact they sent that last email, though, like really just to carry on the pretense of it.
Like, there's no... Anyway,
you could just not reply, couldn't you? But there we go.
Yeah, and then obviously... So
obviously got time on their hands.
Steph contacted TransPerfect, and they apparently have been contacted a lot, been made aware that there's companies using their information pretending it's them. And like they said, look, any reputable company is not going to contact you at an obscure hour via WhatsApp. If you build up... I've got a relationship with a lot of people I work with now. We do WhatsApp and say, "Are you available on this thing?" Perfectly okay, perfectly normal. But a large organisation, that's just not the norm. So again, that's another red flag. And then, what happened was when we did a little video on TikTok, Mandy picked up on in the comment section. She said, "Oh, somebody's actually one of the people that have replied to you is a scammer." She went on a deep dive, and she effectively had pretty much the same conversation. I'm just trying to find, pretty much exactly the same 100-page document, etc. She got the agreement through. She wouldn't work without a contract. And again, they were like, what's your payment terms, this, that, and the other. Now, here's the thing about the scam. Nobody I know of has gone to the end yet. So it's debatable what the object... Well, all these scams relate around money. That's the given.
Yeah.
The question is, with the TransPerfect one, what's the method of doing it? Because the way most of these scams work, if you Google it, you'll see, is referred to the overpayment scam. And we'll go into that a little bit more about the infamous game show host scam, which I've still not had my stripes with yet. I'm devastated. But,
it will come.
I've not reached that point in my career yet. But with the TransPerfect one, because no one's gone to the end of it yet, we don't know where the spin comes. Now, it could well be, because part of the conversation is they say that once the project's signed off, they get the money sent to them via their client, and then it's approved for them to transfer it to you. So it could well be that they say, because this is one of the scams, that in order for them to send you the money, you need to transfer them the money. So there's a link between the bank accounts so they can send their fee directly back to you.
But even if you share your bank details with them, like if they get you to enter it somehow, like can they access, you know what I mean? Like some people like clone your bank account and stuff, don't they? And do things.
Yeah, I mean, I think these days, I mean, I'm not clued up on it enough to say for certain, but I feel like these days a sort code and an account number is not that valuable. I don't think. I think it's more
I didn't.
Credit card
you
numbers.
have that on your invoices and stuff anyway. But like, there are certain ways they can do it, aren't they? If you enter your details and when they got the CVV number or whatever it is as well, like can they then use it as well? So.
That's the key thing. If they've your credit card information, your 3-digit securities, if they've got that and your postcode, you're in trouble. So So with this one, I think it could very well be that they go through the overpayment scam, which is where they send you a check, which is more than the amount agreed.
Like I am gullible as fuck. A lot of the time, but I can't imagine like sending them money. I feel like that would be a step too far to me. I'd be like, you know what? No, I'm not going to send you money so we can link this up. But I don't know.
But you have to go with your gut, and you have to also acknowledge that sometimes, you have to just sort of, if it doesn't seem the normal way of doing things, you get an inner feeling. This isn't a normal way to operate.
Talk to someone, like if this happens and you're a little bit unsure and your gut's telling you it's probably a bit weird, but like just reach out to another VO or someone else and just say like, does this seem weird to you? And they're going to say, yes, it does. Or no, I've actually had something similar and it was fine. But probably going to be the former. Yeah,
and the other thing as well with this as well, the other aspects of it is the scam could very well be just a way to get an absolute boatload of recordings of people to machine learn free of charge.
Yeah, that's true.
They get you to record loads and loads of text, which would otherwise cost tens and tens of thousands of pounds. Yeah. You've just done it for free, and you're chasing a ghost for payment. So there is that side of it too. Like I said, vast majority of these scams relate to money, but there is a lot of voice farming, I suppose you'd call it, where people try like P2P. We'll come to that in a bit, but P2P is another example. So the ultimate point here is just be incredibly vigilant if you get an email, or well, in this case, a WhatsApp message. Oh, here's the other thing as well. He said, I'm based in the UK, but he had an American number. So just like these things just don't...
Yeah, little bits of things to look out for. And I think that is a big one as well. So I actually received an email last week from an agent, and it was from an agent's assistant who I am aware of. And I was like, oh, we've had some communication before. And I was like, oh, why are they messaging me? And there wasn't really any context in the email. There was just a document, like a PDF, to sign for an NDA. So you had to sign the NDA before you got the information. And I was like, I mean, that seems a bit dodgy. There's no other context in this email. But because I'd had a little bit of conversation with her and I was aware of it, I was like, I'm going to click on this, even though I knew it was so unlikely to be genuine. And it got through, and then it was like, enter your Gmail account to go onto your whatever. And I was like, you know what? No. Because even that's a step too far, because then they'd have access to my Gmail and all sorts. But like a little part of me was like, I'm just going to, even though I know, I just want to see. And I know it's so fucking stupid, because if they got access to that, I would be screwed. Because they have all access to all your emails and everything, and like, you know, blackmail and all sorts. But a little part of me was just curious about what was next. What if I do press this red button? But God, it gets you.
Well, from the information I was researching, so phishing emails, which are they make up over 90% of scams. Like they are tremendous.
Yeah, sorry. Fortunately, with this one as well, I was having a meeting with Kimberly Parker later for a chat, and she got the same email, and clearly they'd got into their email address because I called up the company and said, got their voicemail obviously, but said, just to make you aware, I've received this. I'm assuming it's a scam, but you might want to be aware.
Yeah.
So and then they sent an email to everybody.
Yeah, so there's some bits we'll come to in a little while, which we'll just consider as like red flags to look out for. But in terms of the actual ongoing scams that are doing the rounds at the moment, that one. So we've referred that one to the TransPerfect one, but that is also a well-known scam where people will claim to be from a certain company.
Yeah, because it legitimizes them. Yeah.
Yeah, and with that, there's another thing that you need to be careful of, which is called typo spoofing, and this is where I put it on my LinkedIn today. So this is where somebody will register a domain name that looks to the naked eye almost identical. So the example I posted today were two really great ones, because it used to be that it'd be like Facebook, but the two O's would be like, one would be a 0 or something. It was dead obvious. But the ones that I posted on LinkedIn today to sort of share with people was PayPal and Apple. Now, if you listen to this, you can try it for yourself. You'll see what I mean. If you type in APPLE, you'll look as it looks. If you type in APP_IE, it looks exactly the same. It looks exactly the same. Same with PayPal. PAYPAL, PAYPA_I.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So some of these URLs, you have to be super vigilant, because if it's a company that's got a URL or a brand name that's easy to distinguish because of something like that, you get an email from them saying it's info at whatever it may be, and it's, we can sign you to our agency, but you've got to pay £300 fee. Massive red flag. Agencies don't charge you.
They don't charge. The interesting about this agent one as well is in their, I'm sorry, it looks like our books have been hacked, whatever they said, emails have been hacked, compromised, I'm pretty sure they used the phrase, but they said like this is going around and stuff, so do be aware, and I don't know if it is or not, but just to be vigilant about that around agencies, because I think a lot of us, me included, are looking for representation, and so I think it is, they know it, they know people want these opportunities, and they prey on that.
They prey on people who are, I wouldn't use the word vulnerable as such, but I think sometimes when you are really eager and you're very ambitious, and if you're potentially new, you are quite vulnerable. Because if someone sells you a dream, you are likely, just out of pure excitement, to maybe explore it. I mean,
I think it gets, I don't think you have to be new. I'm holding it for myself.
But
the rest of it sticks. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But what I'd say is, all right, you are right. I agree. But what I would say is that I think with experience, you are right. You know that isn't the norm, and you can identify it almost immediately.
And a big part of that as well is like the communities, like the British voiceovers and Voiceover Network and stuff, because people share this shit as well, don't they? And you see it more and more. And like obviously, if you've got a bit of a community going on individually as well, and obviously us now, that we do talk about it. So like the more you see this, the more you're like, oh, that person's had that. Which brings us back to the Gameshow one, right?
Yes. I've got my bullet
I feel
point
like
there.
This is prolific.
I was like...
Yeah, we've this one, and I have received this, Mikey, so I'm clearly ahead of you in the game.
Would you like to you explain your experience of receiving this email? I've had a couple as well from some listeners, which I'll go through in a sec. So go on, you take it away.
Yeah, so I mean, I can't even remember what it was, maybe a year ago or something. And we've been sent, as you say, a couple of messages. And I've got Rebecca Tamwin's open. Hi, Bex. Thank you for sending them through, everybody. And mine was pretty much the same as this, but I can't remember. It was a while ago. So I'm going to read it out to you now so you know what it says. So, Dear Rebecca, I'm David. I obtained your contact information from your website. I'm reaching out to inquire about your services as a voice actor for a commercial game host show advert project. If you are available and interested, I would appreciate it if you get back to me. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for your time. Kind regards, David. It was the maybe last was the commercial game host show advert project. But the rest of it, I mean, and I got it and I was like, oh, this is weird but interesting. No, I don't normally do this kind of thing, but and yes, it's a bit odd. But if I hadn't have seen it, and I hadn't seen any going around before that, and after I was like, no, this is definitely a scam. Then I started seeing it all over like X and stuff, and people were talking about like, oh, you've not made it until you've got the game show, email. It is so prolific.
So I got one. Katie Aitken. Katie's a listener of the show. Oh, by the way, can I just say as well, Katie's got an excellent. I was nearly said podcast. I did this on a message though. Katie's got an excellent series called Voiceover Histories. It's on
I've not listened to
YouTube.
it yet, and it sounds like such a cool idea.
It's great. Like it's really interesting, especially like in our industry. It's incredibly interesting, and I promise I'd mention it because I'm a big fan of it. So Katie, I know you'll be listening. So thanks for sending through your screenshots. But for all of you listening as well, go check out Voiceover Histories. But Katie
share it in the show notes so
I'll
can
stick
find
it
it.
Yeah. So Katie sent through a screenshot, which actually, when I was reading hers, is pretty much word for word the same. Dear Katie, I'm Andrew. I obtain your contact information from your website, etc., etc. It goes on.
Yeah.
So and then
with David, do you reckon?
Probably, yeah. Just a David.
They sit next to each other at the desk.
Yeah, and then she's had another one. Greetings, Katie. Hope you're doing great. I saw your page here and was impressed. Was wondering if you'd be available for an audiobook narration project. So she replied, hello, Stephanie. Thanks for your message. Please let me know more details about the project. Thank you. Hi, contact our project manager via email. She'll give you all the details you need. Thank you. Red flag. She blocked it straight away. Right thing to do. Because if somebody's contacting you, they will just give you the
and you've got to do the work. Yeah.
Yeah, usually, because then they'll put it on somebody else and they'll be like, can we carry on via WhatsApp or Telegram?
Yeah. I wonder if she got that through Instagram, actually, because I have, thinking about it, I have had similar ones do that.
That is Instagram, That is Instagram.
Yeah, and I've just been like, delete.
Yeah.
But it makes you sad because you're like, oh, an opportunity. Oh, fuck off.
And I think the other thing as well is, some of you might have noticed actually on your follow account, have you seen these, you get like a new follower and they spam like about 6 or 7 posts.
We've got one on the podcast.
And I've seen over the last few months, I've had probably about 4 or 5 across the podcast and the personal one. And then when you click on the profile, they're relatively new accounts, and they always say the same thing, like looking for voiceover artists for new projects, WhatsApp or so. It's like, so you just need to look out for this. I think, again, as I say, at a time where some people feeling a little bit vulnerable about
a lot of people.
Work dropping and opportunities and competition higher, then we've got external problems as well. I think it's frustrating and concerning because these people will prey on some of those vulnerabilities and lead people down the path of potential opportunity. But all you got to do is just sort of identify the markers that this isn't how it's ever normally been done. The language that they use, the methods that they want to communicate, they're all just red flags. And even though it might, like I said before, if it seems too good to be true, it more than likely is. Just exercise extreme caution because they're out there. They're out there.
And I think I really struggle with the idea that they are out there. So last year, my Instagram page was cloned. And this wasn't something I was aware of before. And basically, they took my Instagram page, and at the time, I think I had, I don't know, 3,000 followers or whatever. So not like a big number like some people. And they just cloned everything. So all the pictures, my profile picture, I think the only difference was that they put something like Jen.Lawtonhunt or something like that. As you say, it was something really tiny that they put in, or they added a 1 or something really basic. And then they started contacting all my followers and saying that I was the imposter. And it was, at the time, it was actually really horrible because it's horrible anyway. And there was other shit going on and felt a bit quite vulnerable, like you were saying. And it felt like such an invasion of privacy because they were contacting people saying that I was the imposter and could they send out this email. And then presumably, if they send an email, they get asked to input their details in or something like that. And that's how they get hacked. Yeah. So for me personally, I wasn't going to lose money or whatever. But so I had clients and contacts and friends contact me and being like, what's going on? And contacting me off-site, obviously, because I was worried about if I was actually genuine or not. And it was really upsetting, and it went on for months and months and months until they got bored and people weren't buying it. So fortunately, no one fell for their shit. Yeah. But they could have easily done. And in terms of like reputational damage, that could have been massive for me. Yeah. Because I'm having to post on LinkedIn and to X and stuff and say, this isn't me. This is my only post. Please report this one. But like, it's a fucker. And I think so, but it's really random as well. Like, it's just a really random idea. And then the idea that somebody, and I don't know if it's a bot or if it's an actual person, but that there's somewhere in the world doing this shit. Yeah. And you're like, what the fuck?
Well, I think one thing I would always say is, because I've seen a lot of those cloning things, and for me...
Yeah, I see more now.
One of the common things that is the immediate red flag. Is if this person that you follow and you know and you see their content, if out of nowhere they're suddenly promoting that you can make loads of money by joining a Bitcoin or
They didn't do anything like that.
I see that a lot. And that's like, follow this link because I made, if you need money, follow this link.
I think that's if they've been hacked. I think that's a bit different, actually. I think it's like if they've been hacked, then they can start posting on their actual page.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a massive red flag. Don't trust that. And if you've got a way to contact them. So this poor Carla Terry, amazing Carla Terry, who's been on the podcast before, was unfortunate to be hacked. And I think it's probably she was trying to help out someone else and she got hacked and they took her Instagram page and she spent a long time and a lot of effort building that up. And horrendous for her. But there's literally fuck all you can do because Meta is a bit shit and doesn't really care. So you've got to be so careful. And because we promote our businesses on these things, you do have to be really wary. And she's amazing and she's building hers up again now. Yeah. But you have to be so careful.
Just a quick, because we didn't finish the story on the game show thing, so we'll come back to that. But just
I got carried away with my
just quick. This wasn't a scam, but it just reminded me when you talk about Instagram and like not being very helpful. I remember about 2 years ago, I had problems with Instagram. I can't remember how it started, but essentially, whenever I tried to post something, they immediately took it down. They said this is unlawful content or this account's been compromised. I was like, I've been hacked. I was like, if I was writing every week, no reply, blah, blah, blah. 4 months I was locked out of my account. I was like fuming, like, who's doing this? Do you know what it was? It's because I had a link to my website that was no longer working. So that was it.
Oh, Mikey.
I literally, so hang on a minute. So I just went on the web and just deleted it and saved it. It worked. I was like, you dick.
Oh my God. Oh no! I don't think you've ever told me that before.
Because you're promoting a website that doesn't work, so
you absolute plonker.
It's a red flag in their eyes. So yeah, that was.
Well, yeah, I mean it's good that it was in a way. They need to be vigilant. Oh dear.
Yeah,
okay.
but
so another thing to look out for.
Yeah. So going back to the game show, the infamous game show one. So for those of you who don't know how this works. As we've read out, it starts off that you get contacted you could be work on a project for a game show. And if you explore some more of the content, you generally see a few things that come up. The fee is always about the same thing, $850. I don't know why they don't change these things to try and be a bit... you're trying to
up it with inflation.
It's used the same content for 10 years. That everyone...
Everyone's like, cheap fucking bastards, not a chance.
Don't know why it's not working anymore. So anyway... So, and they always use the same words like kindly and all this like terminology. And with the game show one, the way it tends to work is they say this job you can work remotely where you are because what we'll do is we'll book out a studio that's local to you, and we'll pay the engineer. And this is where the scam kicks in. So what they do is,
I didn't get that far. Okay.
So then what they'll do is they will claim to you that they have a studio arranged near you. They're going to send you a check you have to pay for first before the booking can complete. Once the booking's complete, they'll put you in touch with them. So they say, we'll send you a check. The check comes out, and then as the check is on its way to you, they...
An actual physical check?
Send you a check, and then they say, the check that we've sent you is, we agreed a fee of, I don't know, $850, let's stick with. Yeah. But they send you $1,500. So they say, it was a HR error. When the check clears, can you just send us the difference back and keep the $850? Now... Back in the day when this was a new thing, people were falling for it because then the check would clear initially. Oh, by the way, can I just say for the people that are maybe below 25 who don't know what a check is? Oh my God, this is like I'm getting older. Back in my day, like sort of thing. A check was probably the most disappointing form of payment you could receive.
Yeah, but like, it just when did they?
Well,
who has a checkbook now? Sorry,
right.
I'm incredulous.
So,
Carry on.
Yeah. So I'm saying younger people might even know what a check is, but they do still exist. A check was just simply where somebody would write you a check. It was, the bank provided you this slip, and you write out who it's going to and the amount, and you give it to your bank, and then in about 7 days' time, that money would then appear in your account.
Yeah.
However, there was a problem with it where the check would clear. Say if it takes 7 days, the check would clear on day 7, and it would be available funds, but then the bank would only know the next day if the check would bounce, which means the money the account was coming from didn't have the money to give you. So then the window of time where that money is accessible.
Sneaky. I mean,
cheeky
thing is, if they put the brain power, intelligence needed for these kind of things to actual good, that'd be amazing. And or an actual job. Like, what the fuck? They're not stupid, a lot of these people.
This is when I was reading about this, because it's been around for a while. That was the first thing that came to my mind. It's like,
can I just ask this in genuinely, do checks still exist?
I think they still exist. I think a lot of businesses may still use them, but in a personal space, I mean, I assume so. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Well, that's what I said before. If someone said to you, it's like, today you're getting paid, and then they hand you a check. It's like, oh, thanks, mate. I can't wait to wait another week to get my money. Yeah,
but I'd be like, where's even a bank to pay it in?
No, you still have banks. You still have banks.
Yeah, I know you still have banks, but that's fucking miles away from me. Does people still use checks?
So that was my first thing. I was like, well, in this day and age, people don't even use checks really anyway. But that's how the scam would work. They would send you a check. The check would then go through and what would happen is, while that check is in clearing, they would be on you like a hawk. Has it cleared yet? Has it cleared yet? Has it cleared yet? Because they know they've got a small window of time before that money it bounces. The problem is, for those people that unfortunately got caught up in it, the day that money did clear, they would withdraw the excess them back. And then the next day, the whole amount would have gone, and they would have been in whatever the deficit.
They're down $850.
They'll be down $850. Whatever they gave them. If they took out 300 of it, the next day they'd be £300 in the minus or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, and there goes the scam.
Shall I tell you the stat about checks?
Go for it.
I'm not sure about the source, so don't hit me up on this one. But our research revealed that 44% of current account holders and 78% of businesses write at least one check per year.
Per year?
Yeah, at least one per year.
Wow.
But you're right, people are still using them, but clearly not. I mean, they are virtually extinct. Who's got a checkbook? I don't know. Anyway,
I've not seen a checkbook for 15 years. I don't know anyone who. I mean, like I said before, if someone offered you payment and they gave you a check, I would be pissed. I'd be like, if that money,
I would be like, no,
do a transfer, it'd be there in seconds.
Where? Oh, how are you paying? Just give me it in cash if we're at this point.
So that's the game show infamous scam, the overpayment scam. There's another one.
Cheeky motherfuckers.
There's another one which is it's kind of referred to like the online interview sort of scam. Now this one is where it kind of falls in line a little bit to what we said before about a sort of a quote unquote agent contacting you for promise of work. So what this one works is that you're contacted by a company who say that they would like to work with you on a long-term basis. So you'd still you're a voiceover for them, longer term work, etc., etc. You actually have an online interview with someone. There's a full process.
Okay.
Now, again, there's no information as to where this goes to the very end, so it's a little bit up in the air as to how it looks. But essentially, you're going to be dealing with a few things. Number one, working for nothing, as in they'll give you some scripts, you'll never see payment. It's just a way to get free work out of someone. Maybe they have got clients, they just have no desire to pay the voiceover for the work, so they pretend of opportunities and you're working for free. That's number one. Again, number two is with all this lovely prospects of work they're putting on the table, you then have to pay a sign-up fee of some sort. Again, it's just not the norm. And obviously the last and final one is you do a project, they send you payment for it, and then there's about. But again, as I say, I can't see how the check thing would work in the modern day because nobody uses
I mean, that one a year that people send.
Yeah. And the one you get is a scam. It's like...
oh no. Death to the check. God, it's insane. It really does blow my mind, really, that it's such big business.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I think that there may well be that they can do it like a PayPal scams are quite common, so you can get monies. I remember years ago, I was selling a PlayStation 4, and I sold it via eBay, and oh my God, I think I had about 5 or 6 people tried to purchase it, and then eBay said this PayPal account the money's come from has been hacked, so do not post anything. I couldn't believe it. Like, that was rampant then. So essentially, someone purports themselves to be a buyer, but the funds they're using is from a PayPal account of someone's they've hacked. They're paying via that, and then they say to you, "Can I collect it in person?" They won't. There's no deliveries. Oh, we're local. I'll just come and fetch it. And then what happens is you give the item, and then even though you've not done anything wrong, you're completely unknown to the scam.
Yeah.
eBay will take the money back out of your account. So not only you're down the money that they've transferred you, you're also down the products. But that's a whole different story. So what I'm saying is, it could well be for the voiceover. Maybe they could do it via a PayPal way, where they send you the money. Maybe they say, "Can you send us back? It's an overpayment." So that is a legitimate thing, and then it's all. I don't know. I'm speculating. But it's something.
Yeah. It's difficult when you're not in the mindset or anything of a criminal. Essentially, that's what they are. It's difficult to imagine. I just can't imagine people being this mean.
Well, they're out there, and I think it's with I think unfortunately where I don't know. There's never ever any justification for it, but I think around the world where some people are finding it harder and harder to make a living. I think when things are even more expensive, I think you just need to be mindful that that's a time where crime is going to be rife. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
scams are everywhere.
I guess, yeah.
So they're the two key ones. They sort of centre around the same sort of thing, but they're the things to look out for, like the scams that are going about. So as I say, the main one the name that's dropping the most is Transfer Perfect. I do know that Transfer Perfect have had a tremendous amount of contact from people telling this. So no doubt. Yeah. The name Transperfect will be switched to something else, or maybe there'll be a few that are going about. But the format will be the same. It'll be exactly. And the same way, if you get a follower on Instagram who's spam liking all your content, and then they say, "Oh yeah, DM me, we can do some work for you." Again, just look at the profile, look at the background. If it looks a bit sus, it probably is. You just use a bit of due diligence. So, I think it's time.
It's time
for this week's Voiceover of the Week. So
I feel like we're having too much fun with that.
Yeah, I love it. Right, okay. I have to say, first and foremost, this was tremendously difficult for a number of reasons. Well, number one, as September's kicked in and people are starting to see more work, my feed, like people who follow us, etc., they're posting more jobs.
It's brilliant. It's so good to see. I completely agree. Like, some really good stuff out there now. Well done, everyone.
Yeah, when we first started this idea, it was in the midst of pretty much a big summer slump, wasn't it? So I was like, that's why we didn't do it. The first episode. I was like, I can't find anything. It's just memes.
Literally, no one was. Yeah, we were spending memes, being like, oh god.
Yeah. So but then obviously as we carried on, we started off with Drew. Then we had Gabs last week.
Yeah. So who's it this week?
This week. My voiceover, the performance voiceover of the week is Catherine Vinclair. Well done, Catherine.
Woo-hoo!
Catherine has done this promo, this football promo. Hang on a secondos.
I love a sports promo.
I love a good sports promo.
Yeah.
She's done it for the UEFA Women's Euro 2025 tournament. Now, there's a few reasons why I love this. Not just because I myself love doing sports promos.
Yeah.
But it just captured that absolute essence of what it was about. And it just resonated. And there's a great intro. There's like a segment where you've got all that cinematic music in the middle, and there's a great outro. So I'm going to play the intro now so you get a feel for it. But Catherine, I absolutely loved it. I thought you did a stellar job.
Done.
And for you, this week for me, that was the performance, the voiceover of the week.
Switzerland, in the heart of Europe. The home of mountains, heights, peaks, and summits. Summits of emotions.
Okay, so there we go. Well done, Catherine. And as I said before, that was tremendously difficult to pick because there were so many.
Evocative, though.
When I looked through our feed of followers and stuff, what was posted, I was like, geez Louise, this... And this is one of the...
sharing.
This is one of the only downsides of deciding to do something like this, is like, you have to take responsibility that there may be some people who listen to that. I thought that was, surprised you didn't consider this. Listen, Jesus Christ, we're not people of
Mikey, stop overthinking it.
I know.
Everyone understands. We want to just praise one, but there is some brilliant work out there.
I hate the idea of someone feeling disappointed that we've overlooked something. There can only be one.
I don't think people care that much about our approval. But maybe they do. Maybe they do.
I know it's certainly not approval. It's just a little bit of recognition. But you know what I mean? But anyway. So
yeah, I do know what you mean.
Well done, Catherine. Right, so for the final part then, I think what we'll do is, rather than focus on all these individual scams, is just look at things that we would say are not necessarily a scam per se, but definite red flags.
Yeah.
So the first one I've written down, and I kind of mentioned it before, is if you get an audition where they're specifying you have to read the whole script, and it's a bit of a beefy script as well.
I think I've fallen foul of this.
Have you?
I think a couple of years ago I did this. So it was a company in LA or somewhere and asked me to do this. And I was like, I looked into it. They seemed really legitimate. And I was like, yeah, okay. And it was to be on the books. like to be on their thingy, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to go for this. And then I contacted them afterwards, and they were like, oh yeah, no, we do want you to be on our books, but these are the rates, and they were shit. And I should have found out that stuff beforehand. But you're a bit like, I am pretty certain that is somewhere in the world has been used, because it was, I don't know, I'm very dubious about that, and I wouldn't let that happen again. But yeah, as you say, I was quite green, and yeah, I was eager being
Yeah, and I think it's worth saying as well that is largely towards people you've not worked with before. Like if you've got experience, there are people I've worked with that say, look, listen, I know it's not the norm.
Oh yeah,
but we need the whole thing
totally.
doing.
Yeah.
So again, it's just case by case, but. And I'm following on from that, which is kind of related, is P2Ps. I saw, I think I actually mentioned this in last season, there was quite a big increase in auditions that just looked a bit sus. Like if you look at, I'm thinking about Voice 123 specifically in this case, like that's the only one I really use. You can see, you don't know who they are by name, but they like have like the client identity number, and like how many jobs they've posted, how many they booked. And when it's one that says it's their first job they've ever posted, and it's asking a lot of you, they may be legit. I mean, people do have to start somewhere. Someone does have to be Voice 123 for the first time eventually. I get that. But again, it's from experience of what you're used to.
So what made you think that was a fake then?
So first of all, the audition script they sent through was kind of gibberish. It looked like machine learning language. It made no sense.
I see. Yeah, okay.
So it made no sense. It was like it didn't follow a pattern. It didn't really tell a story. It was trying to, but in a...
You think it was for training machines?
Yeah, because that's the way it works. With machine learning is they need all these words, nuances, and inflections.
Sounds and
So it's less about context and more about content.
Yeah.
So that was the red flag. And then on top of that, they want you to just read a bulk of it. There's like a very large fee attached to it, which again, you just... For machine learning, a large fee is usually attached well into five figures.
Yeah.
But again, I just felt, as I say, this isn't saying it's a scam, but it's certainly a red flag that I found.
And I think if you're doing something like that, if you're signing up to one of these TTS, is it that things?
Yeah, text-to-speech,
is that the acronym? Then you need to do it knowingly. You need to be signing contracts. You need to be getting a huge figure. Like there needs to be a lot of consideration.
Absolutely.
And you don't want to do that by mistake or going into it a bit naive.
No. You sent me something last night about the AI voice cloning.
Yeah, I have. Give me a second. Yeah. You're going to have to ad-lib.
So, yeah, Jen sent me something. Yeah, so basically this is kind of back to the whole subject, flipping AI again, but it's relevant. So, obviously, AI voice cloning in one capacity for our industry is like, well, we've been down that road, where I'm going to go with it. But actually, there's a really scary side to it where they can clone people's voices to make you think they're somebody that you potentially may know in order to try and scam you out of something. So again, and then Jen sent me an example last night.
Oh, it was thingy, wasn't it? God, I can't find it, so I'm sorry.
Right, so really basically, yeah.
So celebrity.
Somebody got a DM. I mean, I think celebrity is a bit pushing it to try and get away with it, but we'll use it as the example. Somebody got a DM saying, "Oh, I'm such and so." Somebody got a DM saying, "I'm such and such," blah blah blah, and then obviously the person responded saying, "I don't believe it," and then they sent a voice note. They sent a voice note with that actor's voice, but AI. Yeah. Now, obviously, as AI starts to get, improve a little bit here and there over time, it's something again to be vigilant of. The one I heard about on the news about a year or two ago, this was one that scared the shit out of me. I don't know how they did it. So obviously, there's a little bit of planning and prep that goes into it. But what happened was they AI cloned the daughter of this.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
And what they did was they called the mother and then basically had this AI voice in like a distress tone. So I'm in a bit of trouble, I can't talk right now, but can you just send me some money to this account, please? Because I can't get into my bank account. And obviously the mum panicking sends this.
Oh, did she actually send it? Because the one I saw, like the kid was in the room with them or something, although it upstairs. Right. But it might have been different. And it's like fucking awful. Like, so they're saying like, make sure you've got a safe word with your family.
Yeah. I do know what, there are definitely ones where people thankfully have, been able to, because I've had it before. I've had like, hi mum, it's me, can you send me like $2,000? I'm like,
oh yeah.
So
I think Stefan Cornicar's shared a few of those. He's like playing along with them though, and he's created his imaginary words. Honestly, if you don't follow Stefan on Facebook, do, because it's hilarious. Just for this.
But from the AI point of view, yeah, like that is definitely a thing that some of them.
That's fucking terrifying. Yeah,
I think you can. Sorry, go on.
No, I'm just in shock, really, that they do that and they can do that.
I think you can still tell. The only problem is if they get somebody in a distressed state, then you sort of panic.
Yeah.
You might not pay it, but that's not obviously voiceover related that directly. But the idea of the technology being able to do that, again, it's just very much exercise caution
for people to be aware of, like, just as people,
absolutely,
outside of the voiceover world.
Yeah. So the other ones we talked about was an agent coming to you saying that they will be able to get you loads of work, promise of work, but you need to pay a fee of some kind.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I would say that's 60% scam, 40% red flag, but maybe there are some agencies out there. I don't know.
There are a couple, a very, very small amount that be like, okay, you need to pay to go on to this book. I'm not a book, like this software or something. I can't think who it is. But there's at least one that you've got to sign up for a thing. But yeah, it's very, very rare.
Yeah,
and it's definitely a red flag to check out. Yeah,
because there are lots and lots of agencies like voiceovers.co.uk, Great British Voices, even voices.com. You have to pay a fee to join the roster. Like that is the norm. I'm referring more to you getting...
That's more pay to play though, isn't it?
Yeah, but there are rosters or agencies as such that you can pay to join. That is normal.
Right, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm referring more to you getting contacted directly from Joe Blogs, and he says offers all this promise and potential for a fee. You know what I mean? And then when you do a bit of a deep dive, it looks a bit sus. And I get, so again, because if someone's going to do that, they know you're going to do the background checks. So therefore, you need to then look out for the dodgy links that don't seem right. Or, is that person who they say they are, or are they pretending to be somebody else in order to try and look credible? So that's another one. What was the other one? Asking for a fee to submit your work. I'm not coming across that one. Why was that one written down? Asking for a fee to submit an audition to confirm your... Oh, the bank details. So, yeah, sometimes, again, this is just worth mentioning. I've not come across anyone who's had this, but there could be one where somebody says that you've done an audition, they liked it. In order to pay you, they want to do it via instant payment to your debit card, so they need all your debit card details. And then that's it. Well, once you give that away, you've had it.
It's gone,
you've absolutely had it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Listen, I mean, this is a big, far-wide topic, and I was absolutely fascinated when I started researching for this. And we've only there are more, but I feel like you can cover all the different types, but they all seem to centre around the same objective. And that's just yeah. So essentially, my takeaway would be just be absolutely vigilant for companies that are offering you these ginormous upfront payments in sorts of ways. The way you're contacted. And just really do follow your gut. You know what I mean? Follow your gut.
Because that really annoying phrase, they say, like, if it seems too good to be true, then it probably is. And it's so annoying, but it's so true.
Yeah. And I think, obviously, you have a little bit of a leg up if you're more experienced, because, as I've said a few times, you kind of can straight away identify the things that isn't how we normally do it.
This is unusual.
But if you're new to it all,
you've
got to be extra vigilant, especially right now, because it feels like there are a lot of things floating around that they can try and get you. So,
it really does.
So just take it on board. But the game show host scam, amazingly, is still going around. So,
I wonder how much for, and I wonder if they're still paying in checks.
Yeah, so just be vigilant. But that's it. That is the episode on potential voiceover scams.
Yeah.
We sincerely hope you enjoyed it. It was informative.
Be safe out there.
Yeah, don't get ripped off.
I feel like I've learned a lot, actually, from this.
I got to be honest, I thoroughly loved researching this, and I was looking forward to recording it. So I hope people find it fun and interesting and informative, and if there's just one bit of it you can take away from that you maybe didn't know, then it's done its job. Yeah,
it has. And if there's any other ones that we've just not covered in the episode, please let us know. Like, I'm definitely would like to kind of keep learning and keep sharing as well. So, hit us up with that.
100%. So that's that. So... Thanks very much for sticking with us,
guys.
Folks. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will, I guess we'll catch you next week.
See you next week.
Take care, folks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.